Entertainment became salvation. He risked his life for a broken alien girl. HFY Liam had always believed that life was full of surprises, but nothing had prepared him for the sight that greeted him on the distant planet of Virlia. As a human entertainer and engineer traveling with a small exploratory crew, he had seen many strange and wonderful things. Planets with skies painted in colors he had never imagined, creatures that defied the laws of gravity, and landscapes so breathtaking that even the most vivid human imagination could not match them. Yet, Virlia was different. Its atmosphere was harsh, almost unforgiving, and its terrain seemed alive in its hostility. Winds whipped across jagged rocks, and clouds hung low, carrying an ominous shade of green that made the entire landscape appear alien and threatening. The crew's mission was clear: study the planet, gather data, and return with valuable information for humanity. Liam's role was a mixture of technical expertise and morale support. While the others focused on science and survival, he kept spirits high, often entertaining the crew with stories, music, and impromptu performances. Humanity's creativity had always been his strength, and he believed it could be a bridge between worlds, even the most alien ones. On the third day of the mission, while the crew was surveying a rocky ridge overlooking a deep chasm, Liam noticed something unusual. Amid the rocks and twisted vegetation, a small figure was moving weakly. At first, he thought it was a native animal injured by the harsh environment. But as he squinted, he realized the creature had a shape more human than alien, with slender limbs and large, expressive eyes that shimmered even in the dim light of Virlia's sun. It was a girl, clearly alive but barely. The sight struck Liam in a way he could not explain. He had always been compassionate, but something about her fragility, the way she clutched herself as if in pain, stirred a protective instinct he could not ignore. Without thinking, he called out to his crew. "We have a living being over there, possibly intelligent. We need to help her." The others were hesitant. Dr. Marin, the mission's lead scientist, frowned as she studied the readings on her portable device. "It could be dangerous," she warned. "We don't know its species, its strength, or whether it carries any pathogens. Protocol says we report it and maintain distance." But Liam could not step away. Something about the girl's presence demanded attention. He could see her breathing, shallow but steady, and her large eyes, filled with fear and confusion, seemed to plead silently for help. Ignoring the warnings, he carefully made his way down the ridge, choosing a path that avoided the sharp rocks and toxic-looking plants. His every step was deliberate, balancing caution with urgency. When he finally reached her, Liam knelt beside the small figure. Her skin had an unusual hue, a soft bluish tint that shimmered faintly under the strange sunlight. She looked fragile, almost like glass, yet her eyes held intelligence. She was shivering, and Liam could feel the faint warmth of her tiny body against the chill of the wind. Gently, he placed his hand near hers, careful not to startle her. At first, the girl recoiled. Her movements were hesitant, almost defensive, as if she had learned to expect danger in every interaction. But Liam spoke softly in a voice calm and soothing. "It's okay. I won't hurt you. I just want to help." She tilted her head slightly, her large eyes studying him. Liam could sense a flicker of understanding, though communication in words was impossible. He knew he would have to find another way. Quickly scanning his equipment, he realized that he could use some of the medical supplies carried for the crew to stabilize her. Bandages, antiseptic gel, and improvised braces might be enough to keep her alive until they could find proper help. Carefully, he worked to clean minor cuts and wrap her limbs without causing pain. Every motion was deliberate, and he spoke continuously, hoping the sound of his voice might provide comfort. "You're safe now. Just breathe. I'm here with you." The alien girl's breathing gradually became steadier, and she allowed him to adjust her position so she could sit more comfortably against a flat rock. Liam glanced around, knowing the crew would likely be watching from a distance, torn between concern and disbelief. But at that moment, all he could focus on was the fragile life before him. As he worked, he began to notice subtle details that made him more curious about her. Her hands were delicate, with elongated fingers that moved almost gracefully despite her weakness. Her eyes, large and luminous, reflected the landscape in a way that suggested intelligence and perception far beyond instinct alone. Even the faintest movement of her mouth hinted at an attempt to communicate, though no words came. Liam realized that helping her would require more than medicine. It would require patience, understanding, and perhaps a form of connection that transcended language. His mind raced with ideas. Music, gestures, visual storytelling, these were tools he had always used to reach humans. Could they work on an alien mind as well? He decided it was worth trying. As he prepared a small, portable music device, he watched her eyes carefully. He played soft, gentle notes, letting the melodies float over the rocks and winds. The girl's eyes flickered, and for the first time, Liam thought he saw a hint of recognition. Encouraged, he added simple rhythms, clapping softly in time with the music. She mirrored the motions awkwardly, then more confidently, a tiny smile appearing on her face. It was a small victory, but it filled Liam with hope. He knew that this fragile bond could be the key to her survival. For hours, he remained by her side, alternating between tending her injuries and introducing playful forms of interaction. Each gesture, each sound, seemed to bridge the gap between human and alien, forming a connection neither fully understood, but both responded to instinctively. Night fell on Violia, casting eerie shadows across the jagged terrain. Liam and the girl huddled under a protective shelter he had improvised from equipment and local flora. Despite the danger of the environment, Liam felt a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. He was not just an entertainer or an engineer. He was a guardian, a teacher, and perhaps the only hope this alien girl had to survive in a world that had already shown its cruelty. From a distance, the crew watched cautiously, some shaking their heads, others whispering words of concern. Dr. Marin finally approached, her expression softening as she observed the alien girl responding to Liam's efforts. "I didn't think she'd make it through the night," she admitted quietly, "but there's something about the way she's reacting. Maybe she understands him." Liam nodded without taking his eyes off the girl. "She's intelligent, smarter than we can measure with our instruments. We need to stay with her, teach her to trust us, and protect her until we can get her somewhere safe." The night was long, filled with the sounds of Violia's strange wildlife and the wind that howled through the rocky valleys. Liam sang softly, telling stories through music and gestures, making the alien girl laugh and respond in small, tentative ways. Every reaction, no matter how tiny, was a victory. Every flicker of comprehension strengthened the fragile bond between them. By morning, the alien girl had moved slightly closer to Liam, her trust growing with each hour. She even attempted to mimic some of the hand gestures he had been teaching her, a small but significant step in communication. Liam smiled, realizing that entertainment, play, and compassion were not just pastimes. They were lifelines, tools that could bridge worlds and heal even the deepest wounds. As the crew prepared to continue their survey, Liam knew that leaving her behind was not an option. The planet was too dangerous, and she was too vulnerable. He quietly explained his plan to the mission leader. They would need to prioritize her safety, find a secure shelter, and continue teaching her basic survival skills along with communication. The decision was met with mixed reactions, but the evidence of her intelligence and responsiveness made the choice clear. For the first time in his life, Liam realized that his talents as an entertainer and engineer were more than mere skills. They were salvation. They could give life, provide hope, and perhaps even forge a bond that transcended species. And as he watched the alien girl's eyes brighten in response to his presence, he felt a deep, unshakable certainty. He would risk everything, endure every danger, and face any challenge to ensure her survival. The first part of their journey together had begun, a journey that would test courage, creativity, and the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Liam knew that the days ahead would be full of challenges, but he also knew that entertainment, empathy, and intelligence could conquer obstacles far greater than any physical threat. And in that moment, on a strange and unforgiving planet, he vowed silently to himself. No matter what came, he would save her. After the long night on Violia, Liam awoke to find the alien girl stirring beside him. The soft glow of the planet's strange sun lit her delicate form, highlighting the shimmering blue of her skin and the large, expressive eyes that now seemed to regard him with curiosity rather than fear. Liam smiled gently. She was awake, breathing steadily, and even though she had not yet spoken a word, her eyes carried a spark of recognition. He knew that the first step toward her recovery was not only physical care, but also connection. He had learned that the simplest gestures, sounds, and playful interactions could communicate trust, even when language failed. He reached into his small bag and retrieved a device designed to produce soft musical tones. Sitting cross-legged in front of her, he pressed a button, and a gentle, melodic tune filled the air. At first, she flinched, pulling back slightly as though the sound was alien and unfamiliar. But Liam did not stop. He clapped softly in rhythm with the music and made exaggerated gestures with his hands, showing her that there was no danger. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, her posture relaxed. Her large eyes followed his every movement, and she tilted her head as if trying to understand what he was doing. Liam began to use music in combination with movement and storytelling. He created a simple story about a brave explorer, himself, who traveled across a dangerous land and discovered amazing things. He acted out each part, making sweeping motions, mimicking climbing rocks, and pointing at imaginary creatures. The girl watched intently, occasionally moving her tiny hands in imitation of him. Liam laughed softly, careful not to startle her. "Yes, just like that," he whispered, encouraging her small attempts. Over the next several days, this became a routine. Liam would tend to her injuries in the morning and then spend hours teaching her through entertainment. Music, movement, and storytelling became their shared language. He discovered that she responded more strongly to rhythm than to melody, and she began to mimic simple beats with her hands and feet. Liam clapped his hands in a pattern, and after a few tries, she matched it almost perfectly, her eyes lighting up with joy. It was remarkable. Despite her injuries and the alien environment, she had an eagerness to learn. She wanted to communicate, to understand, and to connect. Liam realized that the human capacity for creativity and empathy could transcend even the boundaries of species. Entertainment was no longer just a way to keep spirits high. It had become a lifeline, a tool to heal, educate, and form trust. The crew watched from a distance, some skeptical, others fascinated. They had begun to see that the alien girl was not merely a helpless creature, but an intelligent being capable of understanding, learning, and responding. Dr. Marin, the lead scientist, approached Liam one afternoon as he was teaching the girl a simple hand clap rhythm. "She's responding to you in ways we never expected," she said quietly, her eyes wide with amazement. "I've never seen anything like this. She's learning." Liam smiled without looking up. "She's smart," he said softly, "and she's willing to try. All she needed was someone to show her she's safe, and someone to teach her that she can trust us." The alien girl, meanwhile, had begun to experiment with imitation. She copied not only Liam's claps but also his gestures, the way he pointed to the sky, the way he mimicked climbing imaginary hills. Her mimicry was clumsy at first, but it improved rapidly. Liam noticed subtle changes in her behavior. She was more confident, more willing to explore her surroundings, and even playful at times. She would hide behind rocks and peek at Liam, giggling softly or mimic his facial expressions in ways that were surprisingly human. Liam realized that play was just as important as the lessons he was teaching. Through play, she was learning trust, coordination, and emotional expression. He invented small games to test her problem-solving skills, such as hiding objects under rocks and encouraging her to find them using gestures and clues. Each success she achieved brought a small smile to her face, and each failure prompted gentle guidance from Liam. It was during one of these games that Liam noticed something truly extraordinary. She had begun to react to emotion. When he pretended to be sad, she would place her hand near her heart and tilt her head, as if comforting him. When he acted excited or happy, she responded with bright movements, jumping slightly or waving her hands in imitation. Liam's heart swelled. Here was a being from another world, learning not only actions but emotions, a connection deeper than language alone could achieve. Despite the harsh environment of Violia, the alien girl's health improved steadily. Liam continued to care for her injuries, using his engineering skills to craft makeshift splints and bandages from the limited materials they had. He mixed local plants with the crew's antiseptic supplies to create soothing pastes for cuts and bruises. She responded well to these treatments, allowing him to tend to her without fear. The trust they had built through entertainment had become the foundation for her physical recovery. The planet itself was unforgiving, but Liam found ways to turn challenges into lessons. When sudden storms swept across the rocky plains, he taught her how to find shelter, how to recognize safe terrain, and how to use natural resources for protection. Each lesson was framed as a game or story, so she would engage eagerly rather than fear the dangers around her. The alien girl began to move more confidently, exploring the immediate area while staying close to Liam. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing day. Liam discovered that she had unique ways of expressing herself, tiny gestures, subtle sounds, and delicate movements that over time he learned to interpret. He began to communicate simple concepts, like safe and danger, through repeated gestures paired with calm tones. She understood quickly, responding appropriately even in situations that could have been dangerous. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of orange and green, Liam sat beside her and played a soft, flowing tune on the portable music device. She closed her eyes and let the sounds wash over her, swaying gently. Liam watched her, realizing that in this small moment, human creativity had crossed an unthinkable boundary. Music, which was so ordinary to him, had become a bridge between worlds, a tool to heal and connect. It was not without challenges. There were moments when the girl recoiled, frightened by unfamiliar sounds or sudden movements. There were times when she refused to eat or seemed exhausted from learning and playing, but Liam never gave up. He adjusted his approach, slowing down, offering comfort and allowing her to recover at her own pace. Every small victory, an imitated gesture, a smile, a laugh, was celebrated. Liam even began to notice subtle signs of personality emerging: curiosity, playfulness, and a strong sense of observation. The crew began to respect Liam's dedication. Even Dr. Marin, who had been skeptical at first, acknowledged the progress. "You've done something remarkable," she said one afternoon. "You found a way to communicate with a being from another world using only creativity and empathy. It's inspiring." Liam shrugged, smiling at the girl who was now perched on a flat rock, attempting to mimic his movements as he clapped out a rhythm. "She's teaching me as much as I'm teaching her," he admitted. "Her responses, her curiosity, it reminds me what it means to be human. We can adapt, we can connect, and we can care, even when it seems impossible." Over time, the alien girl began to anticipate Liam's gestures, moving in sync with his storytelling and music. She began experimenting on her own, producing small sounds, trying new movements, and showing a playful determination to communicate. Liam realized that she was not just learning, she was growing, developing her own sense of agency and finding joy in interaction. One particularly memorable day, Liam created a small obstacle course using rocks and plants, designed as both a game and a learning exercise. He demonstrated first, moving carefully, then encouraged her to try. She hesitated at first but then mimicked his actions, finding clever shortcuts and inventive ways to navigate the terrain. Liam clapped and cheered, delighted by her creativity. The moment was a triumph. Not only had she recovered some physical strength, but her mind was thriving. Through these experiences, Liam began to understand a profound truth. Entertainment, empathy, and creativity were not just tools for amusement, they were tools of survival. They could teach, heal, and create bonds that transcended species. The alien girl, once fragile and afraid, was becoming resilient, confident, and responsive. Liam's heart swelled with pride and hope. As night fell once again over Virelia, the alien girl curled up beside him, exhausted from the day's lessons and games. Liam looked down at her gently and whispered, "You're safe, you're learning, and you're going to be okay." Her eyes fluttered, closed, and he felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. Together, they had taken the first real steps toward communication, understanding, and trust. And though the dangers of Virelia loomed outside their makeshift shelter, Liam knew one thing for certain: human ingenuity and compassion had already worked a miracle. Through music, play, and storytelling, he had reached across the unimaginable gulf between species, and in doing so had given a fragile life the chance to grow and flourish. The alien girl's recovery and growing intelligence brought a spark of hope to the small human crew. But the planet of Virelia remained as harsh and unpredictable as ever. Liam had spent days teaching her through music, gestures, and playful lessons, but he knew that the real test had yet to come. The environment itself was unforgiving, and survival required constant awareness and ingenuity. One morning, as a faint orange light broke over the jagged horizon, Liam scanned the distant valleys for signs of danger. The air was unusually still, a silence that seemed unnatural, almost as if the planet itself was holding its breath. The alien girl stood beside him, her small form alert and curious, ready to mimic his every movement. She had become more confident in walking and climbing, her legs strong enough to navigate small obstacles, and her eyes sharp enough to notice subtle changes in the terrain. Liam decided it was time to teach her basic survival skills. He led her through a series of exercises, starting with simple tasks like identifying safe plants, recognizing stable rocks, and avoiding slippery slopes. Each lesson was framed as a game, encouraging her to explore and learn without fear. She watched carefully, sometimes hesitant, sometimes eager, and always responsive to Liam's encouragement. "You see that plant?" Liam asked, pointing to a small cluster of green leaves that swayed gently in the wind. "It's safe to touch and even eat. But that one," he said, pointing to a plant with red-tinted leaves, "can make you feel dizzy. Always pay attention." The alien girl mimicked his gestures, pointing to the plants and nodding slowly. Liam smiled. She was learning quickly, absorbing every detail. He realized that human teaching methods, patience, repetition, and encouragement could guide a mind completely foreign to them. Even in a dangerous environment, creativity and observation were powerful tools. The day continued with climbing exercises. Liam chose a steep rocky incline that led to a plateau overlooking a narrow valley. "We're going to practice balance," he explained. "Follow me step by step." He demonstrated carefully, planting each foot securely and using his hands to steady himself. The alien girl mirrored his movements, cautious at first, but growing more confident with each step. Midway through the climb, a sudden gust of wind swept across the rocks, strong enough to knock Liam off balance. Instinctively, he reached out to steady the alien girl who had paused in fear. Her eyes widened, and for a brief moment she seemed frozen. But Liam's calm voice reassured her. "You're safe, just breathe, we'll move together." With gentle guidance, they continued step by step until they reached the plateau. The alien girl looked out over the valley, her eyes wide with wonder. It was her first real glimpse of the world beyond their shelter, and she seemed to understand the scale of the challenges that lay ahead. Liam's heart swelled with pride. She was not only learning survival skills, she was developing courage and resilience. Later that afternoon, Liam decided to introduce her to tools and problem-solving exercises. He laid out a few simple objects, a small lever, a rope, and a makeshift pulley system. "We can use these to move objects safely," he explained. "Sometimes you'll need to think, not just act. Let's try together." He demonstrated how to use the lever to lift a heavy rock, then encouraged her to try. She hesitated, furrowing her brow as she considered the task. Then, with careful precision, she placed the lever under the rock and pushed. It moved slightly, and her face lit up with excitement. Liam clapped softly, praising her effort. "Exactly. See what you can do when you think carefully?" This was a breakthrough. Liam realized that the alien girl was capable of reasoning and learning from experience. She was no longer just imitating. She was thinking, experimenting, and solving problems. Every small success boosted her confidence and strengthened the bond between them. As evening approached, the crew gathered at their temporary camp to discuss the day's observations. "She's progressing faster than we anticipated," Dr. Marin admitted. "Her cognitive responses suggest she can learn far beyond what we imagined for an alien species." Liam nodded. "She's intelligent, adaptable, and eager to learn, but she's still fragile. Virelia is not forgiving. We need to stay vigilant." Their vigilance was tested sooner than expected. As night fell, a sudden tremor shook the rocky landscape, sending small stones tumbling down the cliffs. Liam instinctively grabbed the alien girl, pulling her close. "Stay low, stay close," he shouted, guiding her under a large overhang for protection. The tremor passed, leaving a silence that felt almost oppressive. The alien girl clung to Liam, her small hands gripping his arm. He could feel her heartbeat, fast and anxious, and he whispered softly to calm her. "It's over, you're safe, see. Nothing can hurt you when we're together." The next morning brought new challenges. While exploring a narrow valley to collect samples, Liam noticed movement in the distance, strange shapes shifting among the rocks. At first he thought it was the wind or shadows, but then he realized they were native creatures of Virelia, moving in packs. Their forms were unlike anything humans had seen before. Sleek, almost translucent, with long limbs and multiple eyes that reflected the sunlight. Liam knew they were not immediately hostile, but their size and speed could be dangerous if provoked. He crouched beside the alien girl, pointing silently toward the creatures. Using gestures they had practiced, he communicated the need to stay hidden. She understood immediately, crouching low and mimicking his movements. Together, they moved carefully behind a boulder, keeping out of sight. Liam's heart raced, but he reminded himself to stay calm. Panic would only make the alien girl afraid. The creatures passed without noticing them, and Liam breathed a quiet sigh of relief. "See, staying calm and thinking carefully keeps us safe," he whispered. The girl nodded, her large eyes watching him closely. Liam realized that trust and guidance were becoming second nature to her, a testament to their growing bond. In the following days, Liam continued to push the boundaries of her learning. He introduced simple tools for shelter building, teaching her how to use rocks and plant materials to create protective structures. They practiced signaling techniques, using sounds and gestures to communicate across short distances, ensuring she could understand warnings or instructions even when separated. Each skill was taught playfully, with encouragement and praise at every success. One afternoon, Liam noticed the alien girl trying something new on her own. She had gathered a few rocks and carefully arranged them in a small pattern, tapping them rhythmically. Liam watched in amazement as she experimented with sound, creating a simple melody. "You're making music," he exclaimed, softly clapping along. She looked up, eyes sparkling, and continued her playful rhythm. Liam realized that she was not only learning from him but expressing herself creatively, a profound sign of cognitive development. Despite these successes, Virelia's dangers were never far away. Sudden storms, shifting rocks, and unpredictable wildlife reminded them that survival was a constant challenge. Liam used each obstacle as a teaching opportunity, showing her how to read the environment, anticipate changes, and respond effectively. He taught her to recognize the signs of approaching weather, to find safe footing on unstable ground, and to move quietly to avoid attracting attention. Through it all, the alien girl's confidence and skills grew remarkably. She began to move independently, explore cautiously, and even assist Liam in small tasks. Her intelligence and adaptability were becoming clear to the entire crew. Even skeptical members began to see her as more than a vulnerable creature. They recognized her potential, inspired by Liam's teachings and the girl's remarkable resilience. One particularly memorable day, Liam set up a small challenge, a simulated obstacle course with rocks, slopes, and safe hiding places. "This is a test," he explained, "to see what you've learned. But remember, it's also a game." The girl's eyes lit up, and she eagerly followed his instructions, navigating the course with skill and creativity. She used gestures they had practiced to signal her progress, improvising solutions when obstacles required more thought. Liam watched with pride. Here was proof that human ingenuity and patience could cultivate intelligence, courage, and creativity in another species. He realized that education, empathy, and entertainment were powerful tools, capable of saving lives and fostering understanding. The day ended with a calm, golden sunset. Liam and the alien girl sat side by side on a plateau, looking over the valley. She rested her head lightly on his shoulder, a gesture of trust and companionship. Liam smiled, thinking of how far she had come in such a short time. She was no longer just a fragile being in need of care. She was a student, a learner, and a survivor. As night fell, the alien girl slept soundly beside him, her chest rising and falling with steady breaths. Liam reflected on the lessons of the past days. Courage, trust, creativity, and patience could conquer fear and hardship, even on a world as hostile as Virelia. He knew that greater challenges awaited them, but for now he allowed himself a quiet moment of satisfaction. They had survived, learned, and grown together, and the bond between them had become unbreakable. In the quiet of the night, Liam whispered softly, almost to himself, "No matter what comes next, we can face it together. You're stronger than you know, and we'll keep learning, exploring, and surviving, one step at a time." The alien girl, even in sleep, seemed to respond. A small smile graced her face, a reflection of the trust and understanding that had grown between them. Liam knew that the journey was far from over, but he felt certain that with patience, guidance, and human creativity, they could overcome whatever dangers lay ahead. Virelia remained unpredictable and challenging, but for the first time, Liam saw not only the threats but also the possibilities. A world to explore, lessons to learn, and a unique life to protect. Entertainment had become more than a pastime. It had become a bridge, a teacher, and a means of survival. And as he watched the alien girl stir in her sleep, he knew that their story was only beginning. The days on Vyrlia had grown longer, and the alien girl's confidence had increased with each passing moment. She could move more freely now, climb rocky hills, and even assist Liam in simple tasks. Yet the planet remained unpredictable. Liam knew that their success depended not only on learning and trust, but also on preparing for dangers they could not control. One morning, the sky darkened unusually early. Thick clouds swirled with colors of green and purple, casting an eerie glow over the jagged landscape. Liam's instincts told him something was coming, a storm far stronger than anything they had experienced before. He quickly gathered supplies, checking the alien girl's improvised shelter and ensuring it was secure. She watched him closely, mimicking his movements as he reinforced their small refuge with rocks and branches. "Stay close to me," Liam said, his voice calm but urgent. "This is going to be a big one. We'll get through it together." The alien girl nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. She had learned to recognize his tone and gestures, and she trusted him completely. As the wind began to howl, Liam led her to the shelter. The storm arrived swiftly, with fierce gusts that rattled rocks and sent small debris tumbling across the ground. Liam held the girl close, shielding her with his body and using his hands to stabilize their temporary roof. The storm was relentless, but Liam remained focused. Every movement was deliberate, every action aimed at keeping them safe. During lulls in the wind, he whispered encouraging words, mixing soft music from his portable device with gentle stories. The alien girl listened intently, her fingers brushing his as she responded with small gestures she had learned. Liam realized that human creativity and empathy were just as important in danger as in play. Music, storytelling, and calm communication helped her stay focused and less afraid. Hours passed, and the storm began to intensify. Lightning crackled across the sky, striking distant rocks with a deafening roar. Liam knew they needed to move to a more secure location. Using gestures, he signaled to the alien girl to follow. She mirrored his movements, stepping carefully and holding onto his hand for support. They navigated the rocky terrain together, avoiding loose stones and dangerous slopes. Finally, they reached a natural cave, partially sheltered by overhanging cliffs. Liam inspected it quickly, ensuring it was safe from falling rocks and flooding. Once satisfied, he helped the alien girl inside, settling her on a dry patch of ground. The storm raged outside, but inside the cave they found a small measure of safety. Liam used materials from his pack to create a comfortable space, reinforcing their temporary home with rocks and branches. As night fell, the storm continued unabated. Liam watched the alien girl closely, noting her reactions to the thunder and wind. Occasionally, she flinched or clutched his arm, but he remained calm, singing soft melodies and telling stories. She began to hum along, a small but significant sign of her growing trust and resilience. Liam smiled, realizing that she had learned not only survival skills, but also the ability to remain composed under pressure. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving a transformed landscape. Rocks had shifted, small plants were flattened, and streams of water cut new paths through the terrain. Liam knew they had to move quickly to continue their journey, as the environment had changed significantly. He helped the alien girl navigate the new terrain, pointing out safe paths and warning her of potential hazards. As they moved, Liam noticed signs of unusual activity in the distance, clusters of strange footprints and broken vegetation that suggested other life forms were nearby. His heart raced. The alien girl, sensing his tension, stayed close, her small hands brushing his as she mirrored his cautious movements. Liam understood that their bond and communication skills were their greatest assets. Together, they could navigate dangers that neither could face alone. Their journey led them to a narrow gorge, a natural passage between towering cliffs. Liam carefully guided the alien girl, demonstrating how to move quietly and avoid drawing attention. The valley was silent, except for the distant sound of water rushing through the rocks. Liam could feel the tension in the air, knowing that even a small mistake could lead to injury. Suddenly, a minor landslide occurred on the cliffs above. Rocks tumbled dangerously close, and Liam acted instinctively. He shouted a warning and pulled the alien girl to safety behind a large boulder. She pressed against him, her wide eyes filled with fear, but Liam remained calm, whispering reassurance. "It's okay. You're safe. We can handle this together." After the danger passed, he led her carefully through the gorge. Each step was deliberate, teaching her to read the environment, anticipate hazards, and move with awareness. The alien girl began to recognize these cues, pausing when Liam paused and following his lead instinctively. It was clear that she had learned far more than survival skills. She had developed judgment, awareness, and trust. That evening, as they settled near a small stream for water, Liam reflected on how far she had come. She was no longer fragile or fearful. She had grown strong, resilient, and intelligent, capable of responding to her environment and learning from him. Liam knew that their journey was far from over, but he felt confident in her abilities and their bond. Suddenly, movement caught his eye. A group of native creatures, similar to the ones they had seen before, appeared in the distance. They were not immediately threatening, but their presence reminded Liam that Virlia was still a dangerous place. He quickly taught the alien girl how to remain still, observe, and use subtle gestures to communicate silently. She followed his instructions perfectly, crouching low and keeping her breathing steady. The creatures passed without noticing them, and Liam exhaled with relief. The alien girl looked up at him, her eyes bright with understanding. Liam smiled, realizing that trust and training could keep them safe even in unpredictable circumstances. As the days passed, the environment continued to challenge them. Liam introduced more advanced lessons in navigation, using the sun, stars, and landmarks to find direction. He taught her to recognize patterns in the weather and terrain, preparing her for situations where immediate guidance might not be possible. The alien girl absorbed every lesson, her movements becoming more confident, her decisions more deliberate. One day, while exploring a rocky plateau, Liam spotted signs of an approaching natural disaster. A sudden volcanic tremor that sent small rocks tumbling and dust clouds rising in the distance. He quickly assessed the safest route to higher ground and gestured for the alien girl to follow. She mirrored his movements perfectly, demonstrating not only her understanding of his instructions, but also her ability to apply knowledge independently. They reached a safe area just as the tremor intensified. Liam watched the alien girl carefully, ensuring she remained calm and protected. Together, they observed the landscape, noting changes and preparing for future challenges. It was a difficult moment, but it reinforced the lessons of trust, observation, and adaptability. The alien girl had learned to rely on him, and Liam had learned to trust her instincts as well. That night, as they rested in a sheltered area, Liam reflected on the journey so far. The alien girl had transformed from a fragile, frightened being into a confident, intelligent, and capable partner. Her responses to his lessons, her creativity, and her courage had exceeded all expectations. Liam realized that human guidance, empathy, and ingenuity could inspire growth and resilience in ways that transcended species. He continued to teach her through music, stories, and playful exercises, reinforcing the lessons of survival and trust. Each day brought new challenges, but also new opportunities for learning and growth. The alien girl began to anticipate his actions, experiment with problem-solving, and even create her own games to practice skills. Liam was amazed at her creativity and determination, seeing in her a reflection of the best qualities of humanity. One particularly memorable challenge involved crossing a river with fast-moving water. Liam demonstrated how to use nearby rocks as stepping stones, testing the stability of each before moving forward. The alien girl followed carefully, her small hands occasionally brushing his for balance. When she reached the other side safely, she let out a soft laugh, a sound of pure joy that warmed Liam's heart. He clapped softly and praised her effort, knowing that every small success reinforced confidence and independence. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the jagged terrain, Liam and the alien girl settled near a small fire he had built for warmth. She rested her head on his shoulder, exhausted from the day's lessons and adventures. Liam looked at her and whispered, "You've come so far. You're strong, smart, and brave. Together we can face anything." She responded with a small, contented hum, a sign of her trust and understanding. The days on Virlia had tested both Liam and the alien girl in ways he had never imagined. She had grown stronger, braver, and more intelligent, and their bond had become unbreakable. But Liam knew that the planet was far from done challenging them. New obstacles awaited, and the final test of their resilience and teamwork was about to begin. One morning, while surveying the rocky landscape near their temporary shelter, Liam noticed unusual signs. Deep fissures in the ground, rocks trembling with small vibrations, and faint smoke rising from a distant canyon. His heart sank as he realized that the planet itself was warning them of a major upheaval. This was more serious than any storm or landslide they had faced before. He immediately called the alien girl to his side. "Stay close to me," he said calmly, though his mind raced. "We're going to need all the skills we've practiced. Pay attention and do exactly as I do." The alien girl nodded, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and determination. She had learned to trust him completely, and now she needed to rely on all the lessons she had absorbed over the past weeks. They began moving carefully toward higher ground, avoiding unstable rocks and newly formed cracks in the terrain. Liam taught her how to sense vibrations in the ground, using her hands and feet to feel subtle shifts that might indicate danger. She followed his instructions precisely, stepping only on solid ground and using him for balance when necessary. Liam realized how far she had come. She was no longer just learning from him. She was applying knowledge independently, anticipating hazards and making safe choices. As they moved, the ground beneath them began to shake violently. Rocks tumbled from cliffs, and dust filled the air. Liam quickly guided the alien girl toward a narrow canyon, using the walls as protection from falling debris. She pressed close to him, trusting his every movement, and he whispered encouragement, mixing soft tones with gestures to calm her. "It's okay. You're safe. We've practiced this. Stay close and we'll get through it together." The tremors lasted for several minutes, each one more intense than the last. Liam's experience and careful guidance kept them out of harm's way, and the alien girl's growing skills and awareness allowed her to respond calmly under pressure. She used the techniques Liam had taught her, crouching low, moving quietly, and signaling when it was safe to advance. Their teamwork was seamless, a testament to the bond they had formed and the lessons they had shared. Once the tremors subsided, Liam surveyed the area. The landscape had changed dramatically. Large rocks had fallen, paths were blocked, and streams of water had carved new channels through the terrain. He knew they had to continue moving to find a safer location. Using the skills he had taught her, the alien girl helped navigate the obstacles, pointing out stable rocks and safe routes. Liam smiled, impressed by her confidence and intelligence. She had truly become a capable partner, capable of contributing to their survival. As they climbed a steep incline toward a plateau, Liam noticed movement in the distance, groups of native creatures, likely drawn by the commotion of the tremors. They were curious but not immediately hostile. Liam quickly devised a plan to avoid attracting attention. Using the silent communication techniques he had taught her, he gestured for the alien girl to move slowly and quietly. She followed perfectly, her movements deliberate and precise. Together, they navigated the rocky terrain without alerting the creatures, a true display of teamwork and intelligence. Finally, they reached a higher plateau, providing a clear view of the surrounding landscape. Liam took a moment to rest, checking the alien girl's condition. She was tired but unharmed, her breathing steady and her eyes alert. He smiled, realizing that she had endured challenges far greater than most humans could imagine and had done so with courage and resilience. "We made it," he whispered. "You did amazing." "I'm proud of you." The alien girl responded with a small smile, a gesture of trust and mutual understanding that spoke volumes. Liam knew that their journey had transformed both of them. She had grown stronger, and he had learned the depth of human empathy, creativity, and patience. The next challenge came swiftly. As they explored the plateau, they discovered a deep ravine blocking their path. There was no way to go around it safely, and the only option was to cross it. Liam scanned the area for materials to construct a temporary bridge. Using ropes, rocks, and pieces of equipment from his pack, he began assembling a makeshift structure. The alien girl watched intently, learning how each piece contributed to the stability of the bridge. "This is your chance to use everything we've practiced," Liam said. "Pay attention and we'll cross together." She nodded, moving closer as he demonstrated how to balance carefully and step with precision. Liam held her hand as they began crossing. Each step required concentration and trust, but she followed his instructions perfectly. Halfway across, a sudden gust of wind rocked the bridge, and Liam instinctively steadied her, whispering reassurance. "You're doing great. Keep going." They reached the other side safely, and Liam allowed himself a quiet sigh of relief. The alien girl clapped her hands softly, a gesture of triumph and joy. Liam joined in, smiling broadly. The moment was not just about physical survival, it was a testament to learning, trust, and teamwork. Through patience, guidance, and creativity, they had overcome an obstacle that could have been deadly. As they continued, Liam reflected on how much the alien girl had grown. She had moved from being fragile and fearful to confident, intelligent, and capable. She had learned to communicate, problem-solve, and respond to danger. But more than that, she had learned to trust and work with another being, forming a bond that transcended species. Liam knew that this trust would be their greatest strength in the challenges ahead. Their next obstacle was a swift-moving river that cut through the plateau. Liam demonstrated how to use rocks as stepping stones, testing their stability before each step. The alien girl followed carefully, placing her feet exactly as he showed. Halfway across, she paused, unsure of the next move. Liam encouraged her softly, "You can do this. Trust yourself. Trust what we've learned." She took a deep breath and continued, reaching the other side safely. Liam's heart swelled with pride. She was not only surviving, she was thriving. Once across, they continued toward the safety of a natural cave system Liam had identified earlier. Along the way, the alien girl began experimenting with creating her own signals and gestures, building on the lessons he had taught her. She used these signals to communicate minor observations, such as a loose rock or an approaching gust of wind. Liam marveled at her intelligence. She had internalized his teachings and was now applying them independently, a sign of true learning and adaptation. As night fell, they settled in a large, sheltered cave. Liam built a small fire, and the alien girl watched carefully, fascinated by the flames. He demonstrated how to maintain warmth and safety while using the fire to cook small portions of edible plants they had gathered. She imitated his movements, learning quickly. Liam realized that she was no longer just a student. She was a learner, thinker, and contributor. Together, they had created a system for survival that neither could achieve alone. Over the next few days, Liam and the alien girl continued their journey, navigating treacherous terrain, avoiding dangerous creatures, and responding to environmental hazards. Each day reinforced the lessons of patience, observation, and creativity. The alien girl's intelligence and confidence grew with every challenge, and Liam's admiration for her courage deepened. He saw in her a reflection of the best qualities of humanity: resilience, curiosity, and the capacity to learn and adapt. Finally, after days of careful travel, they reached a safe area near the edge of a human outpost. Liam signaled to the crew, who had been following at a safe distance, and they came to meet him. The alien girl stepped forward, moving confidently and demonstrating the skills she had learned. The crew watched in awe as she navigated the terrain, communicated through gestures and signals, and responded to Liam's guidance with precision. "Doctor." Marin approached, her eyes wide with amazement. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. "She's remarkable. You've done something incredible, Liam. You've not only saved her life, but transformed her understanding of the world." Liam smiled, looking at the alien girl who now stood beside him, confident and alert. "She's amazing," he said softly. "She's been learning every step of the way, and she's taught me just as much as I've taught her." The alien girl, now fully healed and capable, took a small step forward and extended her hand to Liam in a gesture of gratitude and trust. He took it gently, squeezing it softly. In that moment, words were unnecessary. Their bond, forged through hardship, teaching, and compassion, spoke louder than anything language could convey. As the crew prepared to transport the alien girl to the human outpost for further study and care, Liam felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He had risked everything, faced every danger, and used every lesson he had known to ensure her survival. The alien girl had grown into a strong, intelligent, and confident being, capable of thriving in a world that had once been hostile and frightening. Before leaving Viralia, Liam took one last look at the planet. He thought of the challenges they had faced: storms, tremors, creatures, and unpredictable terrain. And he thought of the lessons they had learned together: trust, creativity, patience, and courage. Humanity's capacity for empathy, ingenuity, and resilience had shone through in the most difficult circumstances, proving that even in the most alien environments, humans could inspire hope, teach, and protect life. As the human shuttle lifted off, carrying Liam, the alien girl, and the crew towards safety, Liam watched Virelia shrink below them. He glanced at the alien girl, who now smiled confidently, her eyes reflecting intelligence, curiosity, and trust. She had survived, grown, and thrived, and he had been there every step of the way. Together, they had turned danger into learning, fear into trust, and isolation into companionship. In the quiet of the shuttle, Liam whispered softly, "You're strong, you're brave. And you've taught me that no matter how different we are, we can learn from each other and survive together." The alien girl reached out, touching his hand gently, a silent acknowledgement of the journey they had shared. Their story had come to a close on Virelia, but its lessons would last forever. Liam had proven that human creativity, empathy, and courage could overcome even the greatest challenges. And the alien girl had proven that learning, trust, and resilience could flourish even in the harshest conditions. Together, they had forged a bond that transcended worlds, species, and dangers. A bond that would inspire others to believe in the power of humanity and the potential for connection across the universe. As they approached the human outpost, Liam knew one thing for certain. The alien girl's life had been saved, her mind had been nurtured, and humanity had once again shown that compassion, creativity, and courage were forces that could change the course of lives, even in the farthest reaches of space. And in that realization, he found peace, knowing that together they had achieved something extraordinary. In the quiet of the night, Liam thought about the challenges that still lay ahead. Virelia was unpredictable, and the future held dangers they could not foresee. Yet he felt a sense of calm. The alien girl had grown into a capable and intelligent companion, and their bond had become unbreakable. He knew that human courage, empathy, and ingenuity would guide them through whatever came next. As he drifted into a light sleep, Liam felt a deep sense of purpose. Entertainment, teaching, and creativity had become more than tools. They were lifelines, capable of bridging worlds, saving lives, and inspiring courage. And as the alien girl slept peacefully beside him, he knew that their story was far from over, but that together they could overcome anything.